If your son or daughter is thinking about entering the NCAA transfer portal, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen because the portal is not a soft landing. It's not a reset button, and it's not a place you enter unless you already know exactly where you're going. One wrong move can end a college career faster than it began. Today, I'm breaking down how the NCAA transfer portal really works, what's happening behind the scenes that families never see, and the plan your athlete needs before they hit that button. My name is Coach Keith Mondillo, and I've spent over 30 years as a head college basketball coach and director of athletics. I've recruited hundreds of athletes, and I've watched the transfer portal evolve into something that barely resembles what it was even 5 years ago. The fall season has just ended. Winter's starting. And if you follow NCAA athletics, you know the portal opened about a week ago. What used to be a trickle of transfers has turned into a complete flood. Every day, hundreds of student athletes in all sports are putting their names in with the hope of finding somewhere better. And every year, families tell me the same thing. We didn't know how the portal actually worked. We thought coaches would reach out. We assumed someone would pick us, and we didn't think we needed a plan. That confusion is exactly why I created the NCAA Transfer Portal Checklist. It's a free step-by-step guide to navigating this process with clarity, strategy, and confidence. You can download it using the link in the description. It will make everything in this video even more actionable. The NCAA Transfer Portal Checklist, free download. Get it right now in the description. All right, let's get into the truth about the NCAA transfer portal. Before we get into the mechanics, we need to understand the motivations. We all know athletes transfer for all the reasons parents assume: playing time, coaching changes, academics, culture fit, location, and homesickness. But behind all that, there's one more reason that drives this entire era: opportunity, or at least the perception of opportunity. And emotions run this decision more than strategy. A bad week, a benching, a tough conversation with a coach, a slump. One emotional moment can push an athlete to say, I'm out. But transferring without a plan is the same as quitting your job without lining up the next one. And that leads to disaster. This is where the portal becomes dangerous. Inside the NCAA transfer portal checklist, step one is self-assessment. And it's number one for a reason. Because if the decision is emotional instead of strategic, it almost always goes sideways. The first rule of the NCAA portal: never leave a job without another job. This is the single biggest truth families miss. Do not, and I mean absolutely do not, enter the NCAA transfer portal unless you already know where you're going. And most people don't realize this, but college coaches already know who they're recruiting from the portal before the portal even opens. They know the players becoming available. They know which athletes on rosters are unhappy. They've already watched the film. They've already evaluated the fit. And they're already calling contacts behind the scenes. And here's what families don't see: the portal's overcrowded. There are far more players entering than there are spots available. If you enter blindly, you're at the bottom of the board. If you enter strategically, you're one of the first calls. Most families don't understand this power dynamic. They think entering the portal means opportunity. It doesn't. It reveals opportunity that already exists. And if no one has been talking to you behind the scenes, then you're not being recruited. And that's the truth. Now let's talk about something families almost never hear about, and that's agents. Yes, agents. And not just people acting like agents, actual agents. Agents, I mean lawyers, NIL representatives, marketing managers. They are heavily involved in the Division I transfer market. And here's what they're doing. They call schools. Now, this is a little insider stuff, but this is what's going on, especially in the Power Four conferences and higher Division I. Like I said, they're calling schools before the athlete even enters the portal. And it's, do you have any interest in this player? What role are you offering? What money is available? And these agents get a percentage of that, depending on the contract, 5, 10%, whatever the family negotiates. And it happens everywhere. Low major players moving to mid major to high major, and high major to power four. The transfer portal isn't just athletics, it's a business, it's leverage, and it's negotiation. Let me give you an example. Without naming names, my son and daughter went to high school with athletes who now play major Division I football. One makes over $1 million in NIL. Another is around $750,000. Their agents negotiated those deals. The same process is now happening in basketball, in baseball, in soccer, in volleyball, in everything. And at the Division II and III level, the agents are usually the AAU coaches or club coaches, or maybe their high school coach or family members acting in that role. This is the new norm now. And families who don't understand the negotiation game get left behind. When a coach doesn't know an athlete personally, here's what they do. They don't watch your highlight reel. They don't go to that first. They go straight to Synergy in basketball. Synergy is the platform that all college basketball games are on. And depending on that sport and the platform your school uses, every coach will go to that. They watch defensive possessions, body language after missed shots, efficiency, how you react to coaching, footwork, effort. They watch full games and they pull up the analytics. Then they check the depth chart. Then they look at what the athlete could be worth in their system. Your highlight films matter, and that is step 4 in the checklist. But it isn't the first thing coaches evaluate anymore. The first thing they evaluate is whether your game fits what they need right now. The second thing they evaluate is your maturity. And the third thing is whether their NIL collective can pay you. And this is the reality. Now, the transfer market isn't just about Division I issues. Divisions 2 and 3 operate under the same logic, just with much less money and fewer resources. Here's the pattern. Division 3 athletes who physically mature after a year or two often transfer to Division 2 or Low 1. And then Division 2 athletes move up to Low 1 or Mid Division 1 if they produce. I just read something the other day where 4 or 5 Division 2 athletes in football last year have leveled up to Power 4 conferences with high NIL deals. They're talking about Division 2 football is the new junior college. And then coaches in Division 3 and Division 2 rely heavily on high school or AAU coaches as their intermediaries. Scholarships at Division 2 fill fast, and often before athletes enter the portal. Roster spots at Division 3 don't always open up the way families expect. The common mistake in this is athletes assume a spot will be waiting for them somewhere, and it won't. Not unless someone is already talking to you before you enter. Just like with Division 1, the market's the market. And here's something most parents don't know. By the time your athlete enters the portal, many coaches are already done recruiting. Their lists are made, their priorities are set, and their budget is allocated. So step 3 in the transfer checklist, meeting with compliance matters more than people realize. Compliance moves fast. Coaches move faster. The portal window is tight. If you enter too early, you get lost in the chaos. If you enter too late, the money's gone. The spots are gone, and then your leverage is gone. Timing is everything. Timing is strategy. That's your leverage. And like we said, it's everything. Coaches recruit in 4 stages now. They re-recruit their own players, like we always said. Then they go to the transfer portal. Then they hit junior college, and then last high school. Well, that first part, the re-recruiting your own players, used to happen at the end of the season. Now it happens during the season. Why? Because coaches know agents are calling during the season. They know NIL collectives are contacting families, and they know other programs are making promises. So coaches at Division I have to walk into the office in mid-season and say, are you coming back? What do you need? And what will keep you here? And then the coach walks into the AD's office and says, I need more money in NIL to keep my roster. Hey guys, that's not theory. That's not speculation. That's what happens now at the Division I level. This is a job now. So let's talk about money, because NIL is not a side story, it's the story. Low major Division I players might get $20,000 or $30,000. Mid-major stars might get 75 or 150,000. High majors and the Power Four can go up to $1 million. And there are some that are well over $1 million. If you perform, your value rises. If you have potential, your value rises. If you don't perform, obviously your value drops. This is professional sports now. Every year, every athlete is essentially a free agent. And with money comes leverage. With leverage comes negotiation. And with negotiation comes the need for a plan. All right, let's walk through the exact steps inside the NCAA transfer portal checklist. And I want you to remember something as we go through this. These steps are simple, but they're not easy. And the families who skip them are the families who regret the decision later. So number one is self-assessment. Before anything else, your athlete has to get brutally honest with themselves. Why are they transferring? Is it playing time? Is it academics? Is it location? Or is it frustration or emotion? All right, you have to separate the emotional reaction from the strategic decision. Because if you make a move in the middle of a bad week or after a tough conversation or because the coach yelled at you yesterday, you're not transferring for the right reason. And inside the checklist, I have athletes write out their top 3 reasons for transferring. If they can't write them down clearly, then they're not ready. Step 2, speak with your current coach. I know this one scares people, but look, if you're going to leave professionally. You don't burn bridges. Coaches talk. And the way you exit a program follows you. What do most coaches look for? Respect, maturity, and honesty. If you're leaving, that coach might be the person who picks up the phone when another program calls and says, tell me about your kid. You can control your reputation. And in the portal, your reputation is everything. And then meet with the compliance officers. You cannot enter the portal on your own. Compliance has to enter you. But here's the part people miss. Compliance will tell you exactly what your academic standing looks like. They'll tell you what might not transfer, and they'll tell you how many seasons you have left. And once that button is pushed, coaches can contact you immediately. So don't walk into the compliance blind. Walk into it with a plan. And then step 4 is create a transfer highlight video. We talked about this. Your highlight video is your commercial. It's your quick pitch. Coaches don't have time to scroll through every game that you played, but most will, especially at the big time level. All right, they need your best plays first. And make it recent, make it clean, and make it professional. No more than 3 minutes. All right. And then step 5, build your transfer resume. Yes, transfers need resumes too. Coaches want everything in one spot, who you are, all your contact information, and add your highlight link, your stats, and your awards. If a coach has to hunt for your information, they'll move on. This makes their evaluation fast, which makes your chances better. Number 6, build a target list. This is where strategy starts to separate you from everyone else. Too many athletes chase that dream school instead of the right school. And you need a list across the divisions. 1, 2, 3, even NAIA and JUCO. Why? Because opportunity comes in many forms. Just like in high school, you need to build that list of 10 to 15 to 20 programs. And you need to tier that list from a dream school to solid to a safety net school. Look at who they've recruited recently, who's left their roster and who's graduated, who fits your style. Transfer success is all about fit. And step 7, you got to email coaches correctly. Transfers are held to a higher standard, and coaches expect your email to be sharp and clean. And after you send out that first email, if they don't respond in a week, follow up. Not 7 times, just once. And just like in high school, step 8, track all your communications. This is where athletes fall short Because when they reach out to 20 schools, they forget who replied. Like they forget who showed interest and they forget the next steps. And they just lose all those opportunities. And step 9 is understanding the financial and scholarship scenarios. This is where a lot of families get blindsided. Transferring doesn't mean your scholarship transfers. Different divisions, different budgets, different conferences, different rules. And then different schools have different academic aid. Ask the right questions early. Athletic money, academic money, housing, meal plans, fees. You need to find all that out before you make a decision. And do not commit anywhere until you understand the full financial picture. And then step 10, be ready for a new environment. This might be the most underrated step of all because transferring is just not a new locker room. It's a whole new system, all new teammates. You have new expectations and you have new academic demands. You have to walk in prepared to earn everything all over again. New coaches don't care what you did before. They care what you can do for them now. So stay humble. So what pitfalls to avoid? Let's go straight at this. Now, here's the biggest mistakes I see every single year. Number 1 is entering the portal without a plan. This is the fastest way to disappear, and coaches aren't scrolling just to find you. Number 2, assume coaches will contact you. They already have their lists, and if you're not already on it, they're not going to call. Number 3 is thinking talent automatically elevates your value. And talent without fit is completely useless. And talent without maturity will scare coaches away. And then talent without a strategy will get you ignored. Number 4, evaluating what you did instead of what you can do. That's what they did there. What can they do here? That's what coaches think. Number 5, ignoring academic consequences. Credits not transferring, taking a couple semesters extra to graduate. You don't want to ignore anything academically. And then 6, burning bridges. Leave your other school in a professional manner. Your old coach's opinion carries weight. And number 7, listening to bad advice. Every transfer has 10 people whispering in their ear, and most of them are completely wrong and they have no idea what they're talking about. This is why the checklist exists, to protect athletes from mistakes that cost them seasons, scholarships, and opportunities. Parents, you matter more than you think. Your athlete is emotional. We all know that. And they feel the pressure and frustration, and they feel the uncertainty, and a lot of them feel an urgency to get this done right away. And when those emotions rise, logic just drops. That's where you step in. You step in as a parent and you just steady the room. You help them slow down and ask the right questions. And you help them see the bigger picture and not just the moment. And help them avoid decisions based on fear or anger. You're not controlling the process, you're guiding it. And that guidance can save their college careers. Parents who lead calmly and the ones who stay organized, they're the ones who follow a plan. They're the ones whose kids land in a better situation. Now, how to avoid the portal altogether? Let's talk about prevention, because the best transfer portal experience is never entering it in the first place. Families can avoid the portal by doing better research before committing. Not just the logo or not just a fancy facility. Understanding the coach's style. Is it a fit? Does the system match the athlete? Studying the roster. Who's ahead of your athlete? Who's behind them? And who's transferring in? Setting clear expectations early before you commit. And planning for NIL realities. What's realistic and what's not. Understanding academics and your major. Will the credits transfer? Is the major strong and can you graduate on time? And then choosing the right college the first time. And that comes down to the 4-part fit test. Academically, athletically, socially, and financially. The more you understand that on the front end, the less chaos you'll face on the back end. Now, every college athlete is essentially a free agent every year. New team, new money, new rosters, new expectations, and new negotiations. This can be totally overwhelming, but it can also be an opportunity for you. The athletes who thrive in this era are the ones who treat it like a business. They stay organized and informed, and then they're mature about their situation, and they stay coachable. Those who don't, they get chewed up by the system. But with the right plan and the right support, families can navigate this with clarity instead of chaos. Now, if your son or daughter is thinking about transferring, or you just want to be prepared, download my free guide. It's the NCAA Transfer Portal Checklist. It's in my description. Check out the link, click it, get it immediately. It's the exact step-by-step plan we just walked through today. This checklist will help you build a strategy, avoid the common mistakes, and give your athlete a real chance to land in the right place. And remember, we are not a recruiting service. We are an educational organization that guides families just like yours through the crazy college athletic recruiting process. If you like this video, like, subscribe, drop a comment in. I'll see if I can answer anything. DM me. I always look forward to our conversations. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.